Dred, are we good?
Good morning. Yes, you are. You're all set and ready to go.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the West Hartford Community Planning and Economic Development Committee meeting. Today is September 17th. The time is 9:01 a.m. I'm not going to recognize everybody around the table. I'll let Rick introduce each person when we go through the different things. But from the council, we have Deputy Mayor. Well, I just saw him a second ago. I don't see him
I'm
now.
here.
There he is. Ben Winograd, committee member Alberto Cortez, hi, and councilperson Barry Walters. First, call the meeting to order. First order of business, do I have a motion to approve the minutes from July 16th, 2025?
So moved. I'll second. Go ahead.
Okay, everyone in favor?
Aye.
And then the next item, which we'll have a lot of people, I assume, talking about, will be the draft resolution approving the proposed automated traffic enforcement safety device plan. So I will hand it over to our town manager, Rick Ledwith.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning, everyone. Great to see everyone. And I think this morning really marks another important milestone in our efforts to really improve the safety throughout our town. As we know, safety has been a growing concern, and we have been very deliberate in exploring solutions through our Vision Zero plan that will create safer conditions for pedestrians, cyclists, drivers, while also addressing speeding and red light running that we see throughout town as well. And the path that we've been on really for the last 2 years has been very collaborative and also very community driven. Last year, we were fortunate enough to secure the first of 2 federal Safe Streets for All grants. And the first one, which we're talking about today, will fund our automatic traffic enforcement safety device program, which we have now commonly referred to as our speed enforcement camera program. Building on that, this past April, our town council formally adopted an ATESD ordinance, which provides the legal framework for us to move forward with this type of plan. And then over the summer, we hosted 2 public information sessions. We held one at the end of July and a second one in early September that allowed residents to share their feedback on the program, raise questions. We had some great questions at both sessions. Really allowed us to work together as a team to shape how this program will be implemented. The input was invaluable and has directly informed the recommendations that we will be presenting to the committee this morning. This morning, we have our consulting partners from VHB and VN. We have Joe Balskis and Kevin Ortiz with us this morning, working closely with our staff who are also on the call with Dwayne Martin, Greg Summer, and Parker Sorensen. And we'll present the 15, as you know, that the grant limits us to 15 locations throughout town. So we will share those locations with the committee this morning. Following the presentation, we can answer any questions that the committee has. And by way of next steps, we would place the resolution on the September 29th council agenda. And at that council meeting, we will set the resolution for a public hearing to take place at the following meeting on October 14th. And then following council approval, we will submit our plan to the State Department of Transportation for their approval. And following the state's approval, we have one more approval process we have to go through here in West Hartford. Because it's a federal grant, we do have to submit the plan to the Federal Highway Administration for their approval. So ideally, we would be receiving that second level of approval from the federal government by the end of 2025. We would then go out to bid to hire a camera company, and we'll start that process in first part of 26. And ideally, we will be live with this program as we move through the mid part of calendar year 26. So we really believe that this is a significant step forward in really building a culture of safety here in town for our residents and folks visiting town every day. So I really want to thank our council, our staff, and the many residents who have engaged us along the way throughout this process. So your participation, their participation really ensures that the program reflects the values of our community. And with that as a quick summary, I will turn to Kevin Ortiz from VN, and Kevin will begin a PowerPoint presentation added by Joe Balskis from VHB. And then, as I said, the remainder of the team will be available for questions following that short presentation. So through you, Madam Chair, I will turn things to Kevin Ortiz from VN.
Great. Thank you, Rick. I'm just going to share my screen.
And just real quick, this is intended to be like a prelude to the formal council presentation that we'll be doing. So what you're seeing here is like a dry run for that. So that's the way we set it up. Hey, Kevin.
Thanks, Joe.
Let me know if you can see that presentation.
We can.
Okay. All right, turn around on screen. There we go. All right, so as Rick said, I'm Kevin Ortiz. I'm with the VN Engineers alongside Joe Bosquez with HB. So today's presentation will go over a program overview, review the first two public information meetings, give you some project updates, as well as show you the proposed locations and the components that make up this ATSD plan. So what are these automatic traffic enforcement safety devices? They're pretty much a speed and red light cameras that were authorized by House Bill 5917. Those cameras can only be installed at one of these 4 locations shown here. This program is focused on speed cameras. The town did receive federal grants to do the speed cameras. That'll be a later phase in this program, but this is just focused on the speed cameras. The speed cameras will give violations to vehicles that exceed the speed limit of by more than 10 miles an hour per town ordinance and the Connecticut General Statute. Fines are set at a maximum of $50 for the first offense, and then $75 for each subsequent violation. All these fines will be used to be put back into the West Hartford community for things such as more traffic calming projects and other projects around town. So the goal of this program is to reduce speeds and speed-related crashes. The town was, again, successful in getting the Safe Streets for All grant that supports this 18-month pilot program. That pilot program allows the town to install cameras at 15 different locations. Now, in order to do that, the town needs to meet certain requirements, such as getting an ordinance adopted, which they did earlier this year, as well as creating this ATSD plan that we're currently working on. Once that plan is finalized, we submit to OSTA and NEPA. And as Rick mentioned, we do have to submit to NEPA because it is federally funded. So we already conducted the first 2 public information meetings. The first one was done July 30th, where we introduced the program to the public and showed them the initial screening process and the initial list of locations that populated. During the most recent public information meeting, we went and gave more project updates and showed the secondary screening process, where we showed the proposed final locations where the speed cameras would be installed. During those 2 meetings, we also solicited public comment, where we received 26 individuals during the public comments themselves, provide a comment, and then afterwards through email, we have received 46 comments, which we're beginning to respond to currently. We have also been updating our webpage on Division Zero website throughout this entire process, updating the FAQ, the project schedule, and uploading all the presentation materials to that website to make sure that the town community is up to date if they weren't able to make any of these meetings. So as of today, some of the major milestones was completing the second public information meeting where we got the draft list of proposed locations. We have finalized that list of locations, and we're going to present it to you today at this meeting. Some ongoing work is we're still preparing the categorical exclusion submission, as well as the ATSD plan for town council. With that, we're also preparing the presentation for the public hearing. That's earlier next month on the 14th. And we're doing the environmental coordination for this project. I'll now pass it on to Joe to go over the proposed locations.
Thanks, Kevin. Let me just, because I can share, right? All right, let's share. I want to share this. I think this will work. This is WebEx, so it's a little different. Entire screen. Here we go. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Good morning. Thank you. We got Joe Balskus, VHP. I'm joined by Dan Amstutz. He's on here as well. He may assist with questions. Dan's been doing a lot of work on this with me and our team. And I just want to say a couple of things. This has been a real comprehensive study of the town and all the data to develop these locations. We spent a lot of time with compiling all the data from the town. And we use a analytical process to analyze this data to provide these locations that you're going to see in a few minutes. And we developed a screening methodology for these locations. When I say screening methodology, we basically assembled all the data that we have obtained from the town and from DOT, and to develop this process of how to figure out where to put these speed cameras. And we developed a methodology based on several factors that are based upon the criteria from the Office of State Traffic Administration, OSTA as we call it, through CONDAT. They basically have set forth the criteria by statute, what's the process and what are the criteria you must submit to them in order to be successful in getting approval for a speed camera. And a lot of factors we use have to do with speeding, obviously. This is the basis for this whole project is speed-related crashes. That's our number one priority in terms of criteria. We compile those speed-related crashes, the traffic volumes, as well in these areas, school zones, pedestrian areas, and we put it all together into a geographical information system that allow us to analyze the data and graphically analyze it and locate these locations on the map here. So this was what Kevin mentioned at our first public information meeting. We developed an initial list, and this is a map of the town, obviously. And based upon those criteria and methodology, we developed an initial list of locations. And these are segments. Right now, what's shown on the screen here aren't the actual individual locations, but segments of roads where a speed camera may be located. When I say speed camera too, I'm talking about two directions, one in each direction for each one of these segments. So this is a data-based process that we're trying to follow to be as objective as possible in developing these locations. Then we did some additional screening steps. After that public information meeting, we looked at some adjustments to pedestrian factors where we revised some of the score locations for open space, school crossing locations, and safety areas, parks, and Vision Zero areas. We also looked at the traffic citation data from the police department. More citations, we see a larger increase to our screening score. More speeding data. We've been collecting speeding data all along from the town, from Parker's group, and updating our speeding data. And also some considerations. We did a little subjectiveness, if you will, to the data where a town list of projects were maybe underway. Do we want to do something on like Sedgwick Road by the middle school? There's a location recommended there, but there's a project being considered there by the town. And finally, we looked at, as required by OSTA, the qualified census tracts. We're limited by income in the area for equity purposes to minimize the amount of impact, if you will, for these locations. So we had that as part of our screening process. And that gave us our our final process, if you will, for a final list of locations. And from that, and again, working with town staff on finalizes methodology, finalizes the locations, we developed these final segments, as you see here in the map. So it's a little different than what you saw on the orange in the previous slides. But these are your segments, and I'll go through them in a little more detail on the next slide. This is the entire town. And if you know the town and the maps, you can see there's obviously some locations that make perfect sense. So we have 15 roadway segments in red there as our primary speed camera locations. And then 5 in purple segments are alternate in case the red ones don't work. And we say that because sometimes when you get into the actual locations, they may not be workable in terms of right of way, in terms of geometrics. So you may want to have a backup location in case of a primary location does not work. We did try and spread them out throughout town, so they're not there's not more than 2 locations at any given roadway, so that we can put the camera so that it's not just in 1 or 2 or 3 locations in town, but the entire town is included in that. So red is the primary, and purple is the alternate. You can see some obvious roads are located. So what are these? Where are these segments? So these segments are listed here, and I'll go through them in the top half and the bottom half. Yeah, obviously in the top half of town, northern section of town, Albany Avenue makes sense from our knowledge of West Hartford, Mountain Road, North Main Street, Kingfield Drive, Tropic Drive, obviously, and Bloomfield, Fern, and Farmington. Within this northern section of town, we have a couple alternates as well, as we're saying here, Simsbury Road and North Main Street. The southern part of town, again, Tropic Drive, South Main Street, the section here was a fatality there recently, as we know, Flatbush and New Britain Avenue, which is also had fatalities on it. And the alternate roadways are Farmington Avenue, Prospect, and South Main Street. So we have this all documented and graphical mapping here, as well as our data. We have extensive spreadsheets and analysis that we've used for this, and we can show that if need be. We actually have an application we developed using GIS that provides all the data at each of the locations, so we can use that as well if there's any question on that. So that's our list, and from there we're developing the actual locations, an actual location of where these speed cameras are going to go. What OSTA requires is a plan showing the actual location, not just a segment, but the actual locations and the speed enforcement signs that are associated with that. That'll be our ATSD plan that's submitted to OSTA, which will show all the data we've compiled, and we'll put that in an actual plan report, but also the individual locations showing where these are going to be located and where they are located in proximity to other signs and stop sign and speed limit sign, things like that. So OSTA can make a determination that these are validated for speed cameras. So that plan itself has several factors that are listed here. This is required by OSTA to be submitted. It's basically a compilation of the data we've collected. It's not necessarily a formal report as much as it's a aggregate of all the data and the plans we collect, and that is what will be submitted to to OSTA, including the approvals from the town council for the ATSD locations. And with that, that's our presentation. So that's like a dry run for the formal town council meeting on October 14th. So glad to answer any questions, and we'll be there in person as well. Be glad to answer any questions from the team. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you, Kevin. And through you, Madam Chair, we'll turn it over to the committee, and we're all here available to answer any questions, comments that you may have. Thank you.
Does anyone on the committee have any questions? I can't see Alberto, so if you have questions, do you have?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
So my question was just with the fines. So was the fines, so the year time frame for the fines, is it a calendar year, or does it start when you get the first fine 12 months after? So that was my question, when it increases the year timeline, because we didn't talk about that.
Through you, Madam Chair, Parker, would you be able to answer that question?
Yeah, could find the actual reference. I believe this is the 1 year since the last citation on any of the enforcement devices in town. So we're
I think
only
that was
looking
in,
here in West
I think
Hartford.
that was in the slide. I think that was in the slides Kevin was presented. I think it was $50 first violation and 75 for each subsequent violation within 1 year. That's what we have in the slide per town
Right,
ordinance.
so, yeah, so it is in the slide, so what I'm saying is that, within that year, if it's January to December, or if I get a fine,
Oh.
today, with it from today, does it reset, 12 months from today?
Good question. I don't think it's calendar year. I think it's gonna be 1 year. Good question. I don't know. Is it police department on?
This is in the ordinance.
Okay, sorry.
We can, Madam Chair, we can research that particular question and reply back to the committee following the meeting. Unless Parker, you found it while we're talking.
Deputy Mayor, did you have a question?
Yeah, just one question. Thank you, Madam Chair. How dynamic, flexible are the locations once we get them up and running? If we determine, or if there's a determination made that either it's solved a problem, it's working someplace, and we have other locations. Do we have to go through the whole process again, or is there any other sort of means for sort of moving the cameras around?
So
Madam Chair.
sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Joe.
I was going to say the process we're following involves Federal Highway NEPA, National Environmental Policy Act. So, and you'll be approved for 20 locations, like as you said, 15 primary and 5 alternate. So if one location is not working out, you remove that location, you have an alternate location you can go to. So that's how we expect it to happen. Now, if you want to change, you want to shift a location with, like, let's say you have a location Tropic Drive, that there's some problems that you want to shift that would be a function of what does it affect in terms of environmental. Does it move the camera from a non-resource area to a resource area? That's something we talked about actually yesterday with our team. That could be a revision to the NEPA approval to do that. But there usually is some flexibility within so many feet, if you will, to move it's basically like a camera pole. It's like a span pole for signal. It's a single structure. It's not obtrusive. It's one pole. It's 14 feet tall roughly. So you can shift that so many feet. But if you move it from a non-resource impact area to another one, then that would involve a revised NEPA approval. So I guess I'm saying is that yes, you could remove one and go to an alternate, but you may be limited to within the actual proximity of the existing location to move that. Hope that helps. If that doesn't make it clear for you.
If I may, Rick,
Sort of-
as well, just additional context. There's the additional consideration with being in the grant. It's kind of what Joe is alluding to with NEPA and making sure that we're consistent with what we're submitting for our NEPA documentation as far as this process. So remember, that's an 18-month pilot program. Following that 18 months, should we decide to keep the program on, we'll be outside of the federal program then. We'll only be then needing additional approvals from the state if we want to make any modifications. And then just finally remember that our ATESD plan by state law is valid for 3 years. So following that 3-year period, we're required to, even if we want to keep all the locations the same, go through this process again with the public hearing and council approval.
Through you, Madam Chair. No, great, thank you. That is helpful. Obviously a little concerned on anything that we're relying on the federal government to get back to us. And we don't know whether departments will exist, or whether orientations will change entirely. So I think we're sort of into it at this point, but I'm not, that does raise some concerns. But I'm not sure there's much we can do to avoid that at this point.
So can
The
I just,
regional, sorry, the Regional Federal Highway Administration representatives have been very involved. They've been to both our public information meetings, they've been to our kickoff meeting. So they've been very involved with this and very supportive of it. Yes, that's regional, it's not DC, but they have been very involved with this and very supportive.
Great, thank you.
so I just wanted a quick clarification for myself. If it's one of the backup locations, then we would not have to get any other type of approval, even if it's moving
Correct.
okay, so as long as it's one of those backup locations, it's if we go outside of those that we may need to.
Yes, if there's a
Okay.
brand new location you want to do that's outside that, then yes, that
Okay.
we have because of the funding, look at the impacts to environmental resource areas. That's part of the NEPA process.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to understand that for myself. Are there any other questions? Counselor Walters, did you have any questions? No?
No questions.
Rick,
Um,
if you like, I did get that answer on the
Oh, sure.
Mr.
Thank you.
Cortez's first question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I went to the state law 14307, section C. Just want to say it is after, I'll just read it. Provided the amount of such fine is not more than $50 for a first violation and not more than $75 for a second or subsequent violation that occurs within 1 year of the date of the owner's most recent violation. So it's kind of a continually resetting clock from the most recent violation.
Thank you for that.
Did any other counselors have any follow-up questions that they like to have answered? Okay, well, that was pretty easy. Thank you so much for the presentation. I don't know, Rick, I mean, you kind of went through the process. Is there anything else that you want to go
No, and
through
just
before?
as a quick follow-up to Deputy Mayor's question regarding, relying on the federal government for what we're doing. Dwayne and I did have a conversation meeting yesterday with Senator Murphy's office, and we talked exclusively about both SS4A grants that we have received, and we'll be working through them as well for additional support and moving, both of these programs forward. So, and to Joe's point as well, we did have a representative from FHA join us at both public information meetings, which was helpful as well. So, so appreciate everyone's participation this morning. We will finalize the draft of the plan and our resolution, which is also on the agenda this evening as a draft, or this morning. And we will have both of those on the agenda for September 29th. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Rick, we don't need to do anything else with this part,
We do
right?
not, through you, Madam Chair, appreciate the flexibility in moving the meeting around time-wise this morning so that we could be at the Bridge Family Breakfast. Mr. Martin did submit a community development report, which is online. We don't necessarily have to go through that this morning, but it was there for anyone to view as well. But we'll have a more formal report as we normally do next month.
Okay. Dwayne, were there any items that you thought needed to be brought, just standard community, standard
Yeah.
update?
That was just a
Okay.
standard update, yeah. So I
Okay.
think we're good for this morning.
Okay, so I guess that will make a motion to adjourn. Do I have or does someone want to make a motion to adjourn?
So
You're
moved.
muted, but I saw you. Okay. Okay, so a second? All in favor? Just
Aye.
give me a thumbs up. Okay. Thank you guys for again, as Rick said, being flexible, and hope everyone has a great day. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.